cross live to my colleague, SABC News senior reporter Chriselda Lewis. A very good afternoon to you, Chriselda. Tell us what's happened.
Well, Nzinga, you'd recall that the matter had stood down last week because one of the attorneys had fallen ill. It resumed this morning here at the Johannesburg High Court. And initially, as we started a cross-examination of one of the security guards who was stationed at one of the colleges near the scene where Mthokozisi Ntumba had been shot dead last year, was being cross-examined. He was essentially grilled about exactly what he saw on that particular day when police had been deployed to that particular area and had basically opened fire on the protesters who were Wits University students on that day in March 2021. So he was under cross-examination where some of the lawyers suggested that he did not see the full picture of what had taken place that day on the basis of where he stood, and basically categorically asked him whether he was able to say if any of the police officers that had been inside this court, who are of course standing a trial for the murder of Mthokozisi Ntumba, if he was able to say if any of them participated in the shooting on that particular day. So that was the cross-examination which took place inside this court here this morning. He was one of the witnesses, the state witnesses, who had been stationed not too far when that incident had taken place. Also asked about what exactly he saw. One of the lawyers also indicating that had seen I beg your pardon, that the witness had seen Mthokozisi Ntumba lying on the floor, but essentially the witness could not indicate what had happened leading to that particular point. Just about 30 minutes ago, we had an IPID investigator, Judy Twala, who is currently on the stand. We're on a short lunch break at the moment. We'll be back at about 20 past 1. But essentially, she was talking about how she had been called to the scene as one of the IPID investigators by one of the captains, and her describing what it is that she found when she got to the scene. Recall, of course, that Mthokozisi Ntumba had been coming out from a clinic where the protesting had been taking place. That's where he was shot dead. One of the witnesses who was the doctor that he had seen at that clinic where he was coming out from had basically, according to Judy Twala, showed us some of the surveillance footage around that particular area. So that is what she is essentially talking to the court about at this particular point. But I guess once again, as the case itself continues, the Ntumba family, as they have been since the very beginning, are calling for justice in this particular matter, and that want to see someone held to account for the murder of Mthokozisi Ntumba. But we're expecting that testimony to continue at about 10 past 1 this afternoon. The IPID investigator, Judy Twala.
SABC News senior reporter Chriselda Lewis giving us an update there. She's following that trial and will keep us updated a little bit later on.